Shalom. First and foremost, as always, I want to give all praise, glory, and honor to our powers. Yahweh Bahashem, Yahweh Shai Bahashem, Racha HaKodesh. Hey, give a double honors to the apostles and elders of Great Millstone that have taught us this truth that are constant and will through the spirit and power of Yahweh Bahashem Shai. Hey, peace, mercy, and blessings to the beloved Akim that are out there pushing this word wholeheartedly in truth and in sincerity, that are not wavering to the left nor to the right, but constantly stand on that straight and narrow, fighting for your crowns in these last days that we are truly living in. Even shalom to the few sisters, the Aquafs that are out there, and even shalom to the Israelite foreigners, those that may look like the other nations, but their seed line goes back into our forefathers Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob. I'm the brother Iraq, coming back with another lesson to the Lord, willing, edifying, feed the lamb to the Lord, which I pray that this lesson is edifying, concise, and straight to the point. And these people do not have a clue concerning things to come and things that are already here. Okay. All right. And I have this video queued up from Tim Pool. Threats to the U.S. Strange vehicles could be weapons from enemies. All right. Which they're speaking upon the chariots, what they call so-called UFOs, UAPs. All right. And these are things that Yahweh Bashim Yahushai have given us understanding to know that these vehicles that are here and that are revealing themselves more and more are the salvation of the children of Israel. All right, the elect of the children of Israel, the so-called Negroes, Hispanics, and Native Americans. Okay, and the time is coming where Yahweh Bahashem Yahushai is getting ready to open the eyes of the world. All right, to see. Okay, these angels and these chariots, all right, as pretty much, you know, they're getting ready to make war with this place. All right. Matter of fact, let me start with 2 Kings chapter 6, verse 8. I'm gonna read this in the NLT. It says, when the king of Aram was at war with Israel, he would confer with his officers and say, we will mobilize our forces in such a place. All right, now mind you, as I read down, going straight to the point, all right, you had the king of Syria that was pretty much trying to make war, okay, with Israel, all right, and Elisha being a prophet of the Heavenly Father, Yahweh, okay, the Most High was giving him insight on the king of Assyria's plans, okay, to the point where the king of Assyria couldn't do nothing against us, all right, and, you know, this is, as the scriptures say, history that, you know, we all have to read and look back upon, because it gives us a high hope of faith, right? Because comparing to the times that we are in, we have the enlightenment that Yahweh Bashim Shai has given us, all right, just as likened unto Jonathan, all right, even though his father Saul told the people don't eat of the honeycombs, when he tasted that honey, his eyes were open to see the truth, okay? So our eyes are open to see that we're fighting up against a giant of a system, all right, dealing with Esau, Edom, okay? The odds are against us, all right? Whereas worms here, okay? But we have support in high places, things that you can't see on a daily, but the angels are definitely here, all right? And they've always been here, okay? Every brother, as well as you sisters out there that truly believe on Yahweh Bashim Abishai, you have what is known as guardian angels, okay? Matter of fact, I'm going to come back to that. Let me get this real fast in the book of Psalms, chapter 34 and verse 7. The angel of the Lord encampeth around about them that fear him and delivereth them. All right. We're going to need deliverance from our enemies, okay? And when the Lord opens the minds or the eyes of the masses, okay, we're not going to panic because we know what these things are according to the scriptures, all right? But the world is not going to be able to comprehend what they see because they've been lied to. They believe that these vehicles are so-called aliens, but these vehicles that travel in and out the earth and the atmosphere, okay, these are no strangers to this place because they've always been here, all right, since the beginning, okay? But these are for our sake. The angels are for our sake, okay? Let's read back in 2 Kings chapter 6, verse 9. It says, but immediately Elisha, the man of God, would warn the king of Israel, do not go near that place, for the Armenians are planning to mobilize their troops there. So the king of Israel would send word to the place indicated by the man of God. Time and again, Elisha warned the king so that he would be on the alert there. The king of Aram became very upset over this. He called his officers together and demanded, which of you is the traitor who has been informing the king of Israel of my plans? And you see how prophecy prevails, how the Lord tells us things before it happened. Look how the king is reacting, thinking that somebody of his own chamber was leaking out information, okay? And this is the power of Yahweh Bashim Avashai. See, we're able to say these things before it happened, okay? And it's likened unto us even interrupting the plans of the elites when they hear us speak, and they're wondering, how do we understand and know these things? Well, we know these things because it has been given unto us from on high, okay? It's the spirit. The Lord has given us the breath to know all things. You see what I'm saying? That is the power that the Lord has given us, which is a great sense of comfort, all right? It says, verse 12, it's not us, my lord, the king. One of the officers replied, Elisha the prophet in Israel tells the king of Israel even the words you speak in the privacy of your bedroom, okay? How would Elisha know these things when these things are privately conversed in bed chambers, all right? Let's keep reading. It says, go and find where he is, the king's commandment, so I can send troops to seize him. And the report came back, Elisha is at Dothan. So one night the king of Aram sent a great army with many chariots and horses to surround the city, wherein the servants of the man of God got up early the next morning and went outside. There were troops, horses, and chariots everywhere. Oh, sir, what will we do now? The young man cried to Elisha, don't be afraid. Elisha told him, for there are more on our side than on theirs, okay? When we see that it's looking impossible to fight against this man and his system and what he has to offer and the things that he's getting ready to bring against us, as the scriptures does say that Esau shall come down as a flood, or he shall be as a madman, sparing none. We have to remember that there are more on our side than on theirs, okay? One realm against another, all right, will take place because a great war is getting ready to happen, all right? It says, then Elisha prayed, O Lord, open his eyes and let him see. The Lord opened the young man's eyes, and when he looked up, he saw that the hillside around Elisha was filled with horses and chariots of fire, okay? The angels were all around about, and the world is getting ready to see these heavenly vehicles and these angels, all right, in the fullness. I want to play this, all right, get into this video, all right, because it's got some good information on, all right, whistleblowers and how they're coming out with this information. But the world is getting ready to see these things, okay, and understand, all right, that a great war is getting ready to happen.
Area Whiskey 72, 10 miles off the coast of Virginia Beach, 2 F-18 Super Hornets were split by a UAP. The object, described as a dark gray or a black cube inside of a clear sphere, came within 50 feet of the lead aircraft and was estimated to be 5 to 15 feet in diameter. The mission commander terminated the flight immediately and returned base. Our squadron submitted a safety report, but there was no official acknowledgement of the incident and no further mechanism to report the sightings. Soon, these encounters became so frequent that aircrew would discuss the risk of UAP as part of their regular pre-flight briefs.
They're no longer conspiracy theories. I remember several years ago, if you were to bring up, say, the JFK assassination, the Gulf of Tonkin incident, you were mocked. This is when we had top-down mockingbird media. Now, we still largely do have a big corporate
that will lie and insult you if you question things that
to make sense. But this idea of the conspiracy is gone. UFOs, UAPs, whatever you want to call them, it's a real phenomenon. And we have a couple different whistleblowers right now that are warning of the threat to us from these machines, these devices we can't understand. But also, one whistleblower fears that he might actually get taken out for having exposed what the U.S. is investigating. Recently, I sat down with Secretary of Transportation Sean Duffy, and I asked him somewhat jokingly about the UFOs. Now, a lot of people, he made a good point. He says, Secretary of Transportation, man, doesn't sound all that sexy, does it? But this is one of the most interesting and important positions in the country. And I know it's really hard to make transportation sound interesting. Maybe they give it a better name. What are they working on? Flying cars, drone delivery, and UFOs. That's why, we were putting in a request for interviews. Like, we got to talk to Duffy, man. Got to talk to Sean Duffy. Because when a strange vehicle flying through the air that we don't know what it is reported, and they were reported like crazy in New Jersey, well, that's his jurisdiction. That's FAA. Now, we have this story from News Nation. Check this out. UAPs still pose concern, whistleblower Ryan Graves says. National Archives updated his website, all UFO docs in one place. They say Ryan Graves, the first active-duty military pilot to come forward regarding UAP sightings, joined Elizabeth Vargas reports out of Tuesday's Congressional UFO Task Force meeting. The meeting will be followed by a roundtable with experts and a full committee hearing next month. It follows the National Archives website update last week, which moved all of its UFO-related documents into one place. Ryan Graves says there is still much concern about where UFOs are from. Now, I'll tell you this. Secretary Duffy...
All right, and these are things that they have no understanding to, where these things come from. Why can't we study them? All right? Why can't we get our hands on this technology? Okay? All right? Because, see, these vessels are perfect. Okay? These vessels are not from this world. Okay? They're made in the heavens, as it tells you in the book of Psalms 104. Let's grab that as well. All right, let's start at the top. It says, bless the Lord, O my soul. O Yahweh, my power. Thou art very great. Thou art clothed with honor and majesty, who covereth thyself with light as with a garment, who stretches out the heavens like a curtain. Okay? The heavens is spread far and wide. All right? Which Esau fathoms of searching and understanding these things out, but has no access to these things. Okay? But within the heavens are the ships flying to and fro, being created. All right? And these ships are indestructible. And these ships do not operate on a third level plane, a type of dimension. They don't need to fly as a plane and go straight and circle around in order to lose speed or get to be able to land. It's the scriptures speak about in the book of Ezekiel how when the angels think it, they perform it. They can stop at the drop of a dime. They can enter and submerge themselves into water. They can shoot up. All right? They can materialize different shapes and sizes. This is what Esau is afraid of. Let's go to verse 4. It says, who layeth the beams of his chambers in the waters, who maketh the clouds his chariots, who walketh upon the wings of the wind. Okay? You see? These chariots, which as in times do cloak themselves as clouds, all right? They are made in the heavens, all right? The Shemaims, okay? And these chariots have always been here, all right? Just as, especially even in the time of Egypt, what was our deliverance? Who covered us? It was a pillar of fire at night. It was a cloud by day. It was a whirlwind of fire that was in between us and the Egyptians, okay, to give us time to cross through the Red Sea, which was on the side of the Gulf of Suez, okay, where we was able to make it across safely while the Egyptians got drowned. These were wonders and miracles that Yahweh Bahashem, Yahweh Shai, did for the children of Israel. All right, let me grab one more precept real fast, and I'm gonna go back to the video. All right. Let me see. I want to say this is Isaiah chapter 66, verse 15. It says, for behold, the Lord will come with fire, and with his chariots like a whirlwind, to render his anger with fury and his rebuke with flames of fire. For by fire and by his sword will the Lord plead with all flesh, and the slain of the Lord shall be many. So the one that's going to be leading the charge of this army is going to be our Lord Yahweh Shai. Okay? Yahweh Shai is going to return to the planet Earth, and when he returns to the planet Earth with the chariots, he's going to reveal himself. The world shall see, all right, and they shall be astonished and afraid at the sight, all right, of the Lord and the heavenly host. Okay? This is what's coming. This is why Esau is trying to prepare on a carnal level, and the chariots revealing himself more and more, showing that Esau is nothing more than just a mortal man, okay? And his technology is not on the level to even compare to what is getting ready to be revealed, all right? Esau's technology is not on the level, okay? But he's relying on it to think that he has somewhat of a hope to fight against, all right, these heavenly vehicles, all right, the angels, all right, Yahweh Shai himself. Esau's relying on these things, okay? Let's watch some more of it. Let's watch some more of this, all right, because these people don't have a clue what's coming.
Terry Duffy told me two things that I find interesting. The first was, he said, I've seen the videos where these things go into and out of the water as if it's not there. You've seen those videos? I've not seen those videos. And I started talking with my crew, like, did he just Did he expose that there's videos that exist that we've not yet seen showing the maneuverability of UFOs? Now, he did say he didn't get any classified briefings on this stuff, and that may be the case. It might be, with all due respect, above his pay grade. You'd think a cabinet member in the Trump admin would have access to everything, but maybe not, especially something as serious as this. But come on, Secretary of Transport, he has to know what this is. How does he figure this stuff out? How does he navigate this space? But then he said to me, if we really did know what these were and we told people, they might just panic. So maybe you really don't want to know. And that's the...
Yeah, well, the Lord's going to make them know. He's going to make them see. Okay. Let's get Isaiah chapter 13, verse 4. Let's read this in the NLT. It says, hear the noise of the mountains. Listen as the vast army marches. It is the noise and shouting of many nations. The Lord of heaven's armies has called this army together. All right. The reason why we're in the time of war, because the Lord is mustering the host of the battle. He's preparing everyone for war. The other nations are preparing. Yahweh Shai is getting ready to come back to the earth, all right, to make war against Esau and the other nations, okay, and those that have done wickedly against him, all right, and his people. It says they come from distant countries, from beyond the furthest horizon. They are the Lord's weapon to carry out his anger. With them, he will destroy the whole land. All right. So a part of World War III, okay, which will take place in the Valley of Decision, Yahweh Shabbat. The time will happen where the Lord will put the spirit on these other nations to send forth ICBM missiles to destroy America. All right. America will go out by the ways of fire. All right. And this is the judgment of the Lord. Okay. And at the same time as America is getting ready to be destroyed, Yahweh Shai is going to come in the nick of time to save the elect. All right. And gather them into those ships, as well as conquering and destroying. The scriptures say in 1 hour shall that city be made desolate. Okay. In 1 hour is all it's going to take for Babylon the Great to fall. Let's read down in verse 6. It says, scream in terror, for the day of the Lord has arrived, the time for the Almighty to destroy. Every arm is paralyzed with fear. Every heart melts, and people are terrified. Pangs of anguish grip them like those of a woman in labor. They look helplessly at one another, their faces aflame with fear. For see, the day of the Lord is coming, the terrible day of his fury and fierce anger. The land will be made desolate and all the sinners destroyed within it. All right, because they're getting ready to see the angels. They're getting ready to see Yahweh Shai, okay, come. All right. And when these angels reveal themselves, remember the scriptures say that these are going to be a curse upon the earth. All right. They shall enter into the house of the thief. Let's get that in the book of Zechariah chapter 5 verse 1. It says, then I turned and lifted up my eyes and looked, and behold, a flying roll. And he said unto me, what seest thou? And I answered, I see a flying roll. The length thereof is 20 cubits, and the breadth thereof 10 cubits. Then said he unto me, this is the curse that goeth forth over the face of the whole earth. For everyone that stealeth shall be cut off as this side according to it, and everyone that sweareth shall be cut off as on the side according to it. All right. So what has been done to the children of Israel, all right? Nations, a whole nation has been stolen, conquered, and subdued. These Edomites have touched the apple of the Lord's eye, okay? And not only did they subdue us, but they went overboard with their treachery against us, okay? That they have to pay for, all right? The scriptures say an eye for an eye, tooth for a tooth. But the Heavenly Father, he requires double for what has been done to his people, all right? They shall return double unto us, all right? And the one who's going to force and bring that retribution will be Yahushua, okay? This is why these Edomites are afraid, okay? And they're speaking on these things, you know, because they're getting reports on a daily of chariot sightings that are from the FAA. I want to say it's the Federal Administration Aviation or Aviation Administration, from pilots, from military pilots, personnel, okay, and all this reports and information is going straight to the Pentagon, and you have people that are within the Pentagon that are releasing reports on these so-called mysterious vehicles, these so-called UFOs, these so-called UAPs, which these are the chariots of the Lord, all right? It says, I will bring it forth, saith the Lord of hosts, and it shall enter into the house of the thief, and into the house of him that sweareth falsely by my name, and it shall remain in the midst of his house, and it shall consume it with the timber thereof, and the stones thereof, all right? So these chariots have laser beams. They can change forms, sizes, things of that nature, okay? So let's go back and watch some more of this video.
It's the scary reality. In the movie Men in Black, Agent K tells Agent J, every day there is a global threat that could wipe out all of humanity. And then he lists a bunch of things and he says, the only way these people get on with their lives is that they do not know about it. Maybe. Here's a question for you for the comments. We lack the technology, presumably, to interact. Let's say there's actually aliens, a galactic federation, technology beyond our comprehension. And we lack the technology to meaningfully interact. We're effectively chimps in the jungle compared to what they're doing, flying and teleporting and moving in and out of water. Would we really want to know and engage with them at this time? Me personally, I would. I certainly would want to know that it's going on. But I suppose the concern from government is, what can we do about it? We might just freak out. It would disrupt the economy. It would rapidly shift our perspectives, our religions, and it can be damaging to the global ecosystem and economy. And you might say, who cares about the economy? Well, no, the economy is how we build spaceships and how we advance tech. There's no easy answer here. Quote, there is still a lot of institutional stigma and the lack of proper reporting channels, but at safeairspace.org we have aircrew professionals reporting to us every day about what they're seeing. And there is still much concern about where these are from, what the national security implications are, and what the safety implications of them are. Graves added that there will always be a human element to any UFO sighting. He's calling for greater protection for fellow UAP whistleblowers. Now take a look at this story from the Daily Mail. Pentagon whistleblower fears execution after revealing bombshell UFO program secretly studying alien tech. My friends, a science administrator in the Trump administration just a couple weeks ago gave a speech where he said, our technology allows us to manipulate time and space, to leave distance annihilated. And when I heard that, the first thing I did is I looked at the crew and I was like, have you ever heard someone use a turn of phrase of traveling by car or plane as manipulating time and space? No. Or leaving distance annihilated? No. Those are very specific phrases. Now, maybe, because I'm not a crazy person, he was actually just trying to be boastful and grandiose as he talked about, I don't know, high-speed rail, maglev trains. You know, we leave distance annihilated. We can go 1,000 miles an hour by high-speed rail, but we haven't built it yet. He was saying things like, our trains are getting slower, our planes are breaking down, something is happening. And then he brings up this tech we have. I gotta be honest. When you take a look at the technology that was developed 100 years ago and the rapid acceleration of data, AI, etc., I actually believe it makes more sense that these UAPs and UFOs are American, US, or at least just human technology.
This is not a scam. All American
It's to the public. When they were developed.
And see, this is where these people don't have a clue. The will of Yahweh Ba'ashem Abishai. The advancement and leaps of from horses to spears to arrows to even shooting guns with muskets, reloading with sticks, all right, to where you have automatic weapons, planes that can fly, trains that can travel, all right, throughout the states, boats that are faster. That's the Lord giving Esau a fraction of an upgraded sense of technology. Okay, but these things are not even compared, not even close to, all right, the understanding of the chariots. Not even close. Okay. All right. And these things are not man-made. Esau doesn't have his hands on the chariots. There's no such thing as Area 51 where they got alien technology. It crash landed. All these things were a lie. Esau cannot go back in time. Esau cannot teleport. Esau cannot do none of these things. Okay. What's the word? He salivates over these things, you know? His mouth drools over the ideal of having these type of capabilities and powers, okay? But we know that our powers have this, all right? Yahweh Ba'ashem Abishai and the angels have these capabilities, all right? Esau is losing on all levels, but he's convinced the masses, don't worry, we got things under control. That's why the scriptures say never trust thine enemy, you know? Because Esau paints narratives. He'll make you believe that everything is a sunny day in Philadelphia, you know, a sunny day in California, you know? All right, but it's not. All right, things is not okay. Things are progressively getting worse, and these Edomites are falling. So they're hoping on the last hope, which is the little bit of technology that the Lord gave them that they got. All right, you know, and they're getting ready to find out that it was nothing. As the scriptures say, matter of fact, let's get that real fast. Hold on, you know, because Esau is nothing more than just a man. Okay, Daniel's 4, I want to say 17. All right, he's nothing more than just the basis of men. All right, Daniel's 4 and 17. It says, this matter is by the decree of the watchers, and demand by the word of the Holy One, to the intent that the living may know that the Most High ruleth in the kingdom of men, and giveth it to whomsoever he will, and setteth up over it the bases of men. So if Esau got upgraded, it was because the Lord gave him that upgrade, not because of man's will, not because Esau sought and found these things out on his own strength. The reason why you see an upgraded version of societies nowadays is because of the Lord. All right, and just as well as Esau had to take years of preparation to build these things up, the Lord's going to throw it down just that fast. All right, that's what's getting ready to take place. Okay, remember, the scriptures say, hey, he shall build, but I shall throw down. All right, that's what's getting ready to happen. You know, let's read that as well. Okay, Malachi chapter 1, verse 4. Let's get straight to the point. It says, whereas Edom said, we are impoverished, but we will return and build the desolate places. Thus saith the Lord of hosts, they shall build, but I will throw down, and they shall call them the border of wickedness and the people against whom the Lord have indignation forever. All right, so the Most High has a problem with these Edomites, okay? All right, and he's getting ready to send his son to solve his problems. All right, that's what's getting ready to take place. Okay, let me grab another precept. I know I'm all over the place below when this is edifying to the elect. Second Ezra chapter 13. I want to say around 31. Yep, let's start up a little bit. Ooh, yeah, that's a good one. Second Ezra 13 and 29. It says, behold, the days come when the Most High will begin to deliver them that are upon the earth, all right? The elect, the 1/3, all right? The large multitude, okay? And those are the children of Israel, right? And he shall come to the astonishment of them that dwell on the earth. And one shall undertake to fight against another, one city against another, and one place against another. One place against another, and one people against another, and one realm against another, okay? And the time shall be when these things shall come to pass, the signs shall happen which I showed thee before, and then shall my son be declared, whom thou sawest as a man ascending. All right, so the Lord's getting ready to descend upon this place with great wrath. Read Revelation, the 19th chapter. Okay, he's coming upon a white horse with a sword in his hand and make war. All right, war is in Yahushai's heart. He said he shall not meet the world as a man. Vengeance is in his heart. All right, the year of his redeem is come. All right, in order to be redeemed, you have to be a kinsman. You have to be an Israelite, and you have to be the elect of the nation of Israel, because not everybody's worthy to be redeemed. All right, but these things are getting ready to happen. The Lord's getting ready to open the eyes of these people. All right, Esau's getting ready to go down real soon. Play a little bit more. I'm gonna close it out.
We're developing the nuclear bomb in the Manhattan Project, and I've got all the Life magazines. Nobody knew exactly what was being built, but they had some idea something was being built. They knew it was a weapon of some sort, some kind of technology. Some speculated it was going to be a death ray, a gigantic beam you'd blast like a low-orbit ion cannon from space. Some thought it might be a bomb. And sure enough, after the bombing of Japan at Hiroshima and Nagasaki, excuse me, geez, they did publish a general report on what this is and how it works. It's actually fascinating. I have the Life magazine right after the bombs were dropped, and they explain the general function of a nuclear bomb. Now, it seems crazy, right? Why would the U.S. give out this information to the public on how a bomb was made, a nuclear one at that, to allow our enemies to build these weapons or figure it out? Unless, of course, we actually had more advanced weapons and technology. It makes absolutely no sense that they would give up this tech to the public. So, when I see these stories of UAPs and
Yeah, it's because of the will of the Lord, all right? Prophecy-wise, all right? This war has to take place. Other nations had to get armed up, all right, for this global conflict, all right? World War III is going to be the end of all wars, all right? And Yahushua is going to come in the midst of it, okay, when those missiles fly, all right? Everything is on Yahweh Bashim Yahushua's time, all right? I'm going to grab one more precept, and I'm going to pretty much close it, all right? Because I've kind of pretty much hit the point, all right? Most of these people that do these news reporting and talk about these so-called phenomenons and things that nature, they don't have a clue, all right, what's happening and what's getting ready to happen, all right? And that's why they got to ultimately, bring out the news and leave it up to the prophets to speak on the spiritual things, all right? Because you people ain't got it. Let me see. Let's say might be Isaiah 31. Yep, Isaiah chapter 31 verse 4. It says, for thus hath the Lord spoken unto me like as the lion and the young lion roaring on his prey. When a multitude of shepherds is called forth against him, he will not be afraid of their voice, nor abase himself. For the noise of them, so shall the Lord of hosts come down to fight for Mount Zion and for the hill thereof. As birds flying, so will the Lord of hosts defend Jerusalem. Defending also he will deliver it, and passing over it will preserve it. All right, preserve us from that nuclear fire, preserve us from the destruction, all right, that's getting ready to take place. All right, it's going to be a small few that's going to be saved. All right, but Yahweh Shai is going to come back, all right, and reveal himself to the world. All right, he's going to make it known who are his people, who he's coming to save, all right, and who he's coming to destroy. All right, so, you know, we pretty much leave it right there. You know, I do pray that this was edifying to the Lord's elect, giving all praises to Yahweh by Hashem, Yahweh Shai. I want to end by saying Brakatah Yahweh, Brakatah Yahweh Shai, Brakatah Yahweh, and Brakatah Yahweh Shai. Hey, with that, Shalom, Akim, Shalom.